The Littlest Vampire Story, written by Rusty Fischer, illustrated by Joel Cook. Vickie the Vampire dawdled all night. She would not close her eyes. Her coffin beckoned, dark and cold, but she would not get inside. Her mother scowled and scolded her until her fangs were blue. "Now, Vickie, get inside your tomb or the sun will burn through you." "Oh, Mother dear," poor Vickie cried. "I want to have some fun." Her mother sighed and reminded her, "You'll feel much better after a lullaby I've sung." But Vickie would have none of it. The very first chance she got, she crept out from their silent tomb and hoped she wouldn't get caught. The sky was just as dark as coal, and Vickie wasn't troubled. Besides, now that she was out of there, her fun had nearly doubled. She crept right through the cemetery, skulking through the night. She hoped to find some little friends who would not die from fright. Just because her teeth were long and sharpened at the tip, why, it took her 16 weeks to remember not to bite her lip. The little town beyond her tomb was sleepy, dull, and still. She rustled her cape and licked her fangs as she marched on down the hill. But no one would come out and play with Vickie the Vampire, and as she trampled through the town, her legs began to tire. So she rose into the night and peeked into high bedrooms. She was careful not to get mowed down by witches on their brooms. The children nestled in their beds with pinched-up eyes and dreamy smiles. It went on like that, as far as Vickie could see, for miles and miles and miles. So finally, Vickie walked back home, realizing her mother was right. There was no reason to leave the tomb in the middle of the night. There were no children out at play, no one to call her friend, and so she skulked away from town. Her night had come to an end. Night! Oh no, where had it gone? Now the sky had brightened. Little Vickie was far away from her tomb and very frightened, for something strange had happened while Vickie sought a human bud. Now the sun was on the rise, turning the horizon the color of blood. Her mother was right all along, and now Vickie the Vampire would burn. Oh, why, she wondered aloud, do I never, ever learn? She ran and ran through the town. The sun chased her all the way home. She swore if she made it back safely from her tomb, she would no longer roam. The sun was looming right at her back. She could feel its rays burning her skin. Vickie knew that even if she could reach her tomb, she'd never make it all the way in. But then as she stumbled, someone held out a hand, the skin both familiar and cold. Her mother was there with a smile on her face and a coffin 100 years old. Mother had dragged it from home to meet Vickie before she turned to toast, and if she'd ever been glad to see her mother, Vickie figured right now was the most. "Get in," Mother said as she opened the top. She shoved Vickie the Vampire inside, then she slammed the door shut, making sure that neither of them fried. And once they were safe in the coffin and the sun was high in the sky, Vickie's mother smoothed her hair and said, "Now will you let me sing you a lullaby?"